Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gaybros, Jose.
Surprise me. Where are we today?
Um, well, I'm still in San Francisco, but I'm unemployed now. That's new.
Well, I love that. I always wonder. It's how much information do we want to share? And you are just I'm not going to be thinking about it. My audience deserves to know.
I have to be authentic for all of you.
That's
I have
true.
to be my true self.
That's true. You're bringing your true self to the podcast. And the funny thing is, as this podcast, it may come out, I don't know, in October. Probably it's maybe at that time you're maybe already working again. Who knows?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I may be employed. Who knows?
Who knows? Yep. We may not be alive even. Who knows? Imagine there is some kind of apocalyptic situation or anything, and it's and still all these systems that they're scheduling podcasts and the likes, they keep working, and our podcasts go to the void. About it still gets published, It's radiation has eradicated all United States, but the podcast is still published. It's still out there.
We can live forever that way. Our legacy will go on.
How do you feel about just thinking that this is the legacy that we leave to the future? Do you feel proud?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, yeah, in any case, as long as people enjoy, the 5 people that they are listening to this enjoy this is great. It's what I actually just
That's
bring
enough
me
for
joy.
me.
Yeah, it's what keeps me going every single morning. Thank you so much, anonymous listeners. But yeah, talking about saying thank you or not, what did we watch this time?
This was my pick this week. My husband really wanted to watch Stillwater, and you and I have talked about watching more recent cinema, and so I picked it.
Okay, you're owning it. Thank you, because I thought that was going to be. After watching it, I wonder is he going to be owning it, or is he going to be just trying to say no, this was the critics and blah blah blah. Thank you.
I don't feel bad about picking a movie not having seen it and hoping it's good, versus if I asked you to watch a movie I had already seen and it was bad, then I would be embarrassed.
Yeah, no, okay, that's fair. I mean, this is not the case in any case.
Yeah, it's not.
That I still thought
or Let's Be Cops.
True, but we didn't record about Let's Be Cops as a New York critics pick. That the case was. Let's forget about it. Okay, as this was your pick, and you already explained why, I guess that is my turn to actually try to summarize this gem of our times. So this is loosely based on real events. It's inspired by real events, let's just say.
Not legally, because they had to change it enough in court. That's why it's not in Italy.
Okay, it's in France, yeah. But in any case, this is the story of a father whose wife died, and his daughter actually went to study in Marseille, in France. And she ended in prison because she supposedly or allegedly murdered her roommate and lover. That it was what is it? It's an Arabian girl, Muslim. How do they actually identify her?
A person of color, but I can't remember specifically.
Yeah, but there is a bit more of a racial conflict that is also getting presented here. So the father, played by Matt Damon, regularly goes to visit her. He's just a construction worker, and it feels like a bit more of a regular, average, deep America life, let's say.
I do want to say that everything you've said I agree with, but I will add that her going to study and the murder happening, all of that happened before the film takes place. She's already in jail.
Yeah, and there is no exposition, at least I appreciate that, is that we don't know exactly what he's going to Marseille for initially, until you see him just going into a prison, and then more context gets given in an organic kind of way, instead of opening, with some kind of narration about and my wife died and my daughter went to prison. No, there is a bit more of an organic kind of narration about you start the story in the middle of nowhere, and there is a bit more of a build-up of the world or the situation of this guy. So while he's there, his daughter gives her a letter for her lawyer, about giving more information about the case, about a potential third party that he was involved, that stole his bag, and then he went to his house and to her house and potentially killed her lover. You know, so he wants the case to be reopened, more investigation, and just, you know, like finding like some kind of excuse for she didn't do it. Of course, the lawyer says that look, when a case is closed, is that the options of reopening it are pretty minimal. We're not going to be like doing this. Is that the best case at this point, as he has already been for 5 years in prison, is a stay for the remaining 4. I think that it was going to be, or maybe like or going on a how is it called, like for good behavior that they released you earlier.
Released early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, Matt Damon, as he's a true American, is that he decides to just take it personally and actually say, I will bring the truth here because I believe in one thing over any other thing, that is freedom.
Don't say it like that. That is not the way this film frames it.
No, it's true that it's not, you know, but it was a bit more of a, okay, cool, yeah, I don't know. Is that you're fighting for the freedom of your daughter, and you're fighting for your freedom of carrying guns. Because that joke, that gratitude joke about like the French people like making fun of him for having guns, and he's still like, okay, whatever, I'm heading home, I'm heading to bed. It was a bit more, it's like, okay, I think that, you know, whoever wrote this script has a point that he wants to make, you know? That is like, look how dumb the French are. But at the same time, it's like, well, let me just go back. It's like he starts like a relationship, quote unquote, first of friendship and then a bit more intimate, with a girl that he meets in the Nice hotel there where he's at, because she speaks English, so he actually uses her, point blank, uses her for just translating, you know, and being like an interpreter.
And I love that they were in Marseille, but they met at a Best Western.
Correct, because that's where Americans go. You know, that's the most American hotel that you can find all over the world. So this woman is also a single mother. She has a little daughter, and they get along. They kick it off. Billy, Matt Damon's character, and the little girl, that they don't speak each other's language. You know, that I find fascinating. That a father that he has a daughter in a prison in France, that he wouldn't make any effort for trying to learn the language.
So I will say that my father is not as cliched as Matt Damon's performance, but they're similar. And I told my husband when we were watching, I was like, my dad wouldn't even go to Europe. It's just beyond his wildest.
Are you telling me that you were in a prison, you know, and especially if you were like just 20 years old? And
I believe he would try to help me. I don't believe for a second he would fly across the Atlantic.
Okay, I mean,
So I'm just saying, for me, that is believable that he didn't learn French. Plus, Americans are very arrogant and expect everyone to speak English, so... Well,
that's true, because he speaks to everyone as they speak English, you know, there is a bit of a surprise, like, you don't speak my language? He said, what the fuck?
In France?
Yeah, it's like, freedom is the language of freedom, you have to speak this. So, yeah, basically, as you said, it's a cliche. It's like Matt Damon is a walking cliche of a salt-of-the-earth kind of American guy.
But a very sad American guy. Very, very sad.
I think that's what I expect, you know, of the average cliche of an American guy. I don't think that happiness, I mean, he's not with his guns, so he cannot be happy.
But also his wife died, his daughter's in prison, he's a recovering addict.
True.
He can't get a job because the economy's fucked. He can get short gigs, but not there's a lot here that's trying to make a comment on like the American focus on individualism and that being his downfall, I think, in my opinion. So there is some nuance there in terms of...
I think that you're giving it a lot of credit, but okay. I mean, it's true that the director actually he has the intention of this being a bit not only about like what you're seeing, but a bit more of a vehicle. It's like the characters as other movies like The Air Comrades, is like they don't matter that much. I mean, they matter, but at the same time, is that they are like just a vehicle for portraying something. Now, what was interesting about like talking with you is like, how do you think the French people are being portrayed here?
Well, it immediately became apparent that the director Tom McCarthy, who I think you mentioned directed Spotlight, he did have an interest in showing France to be grittier than France is typically shown, at least in American cinemas. I don't think any of them were really treated as fully developed, well-rounded characters at all.
Yep.
But neither was Matt Damon. I mean, it's not. I don't think there's anything particularly. I don't know. Tell me your opinion. How do you think they portrayed French?
I think that it was a bit more of a. Even the father, for example, is like portrayed a bit more of a redneck. Is like the French characters, not all of them, but most of them, they are like a bit uptight, you know, and a teeny bit pretentious. You know, it's like it's hilarious that he ends up with a theater actress, you know, that it actually just gets together with other theater people that all of them speak English, you know, and they wear like random masks and they have like high, you know, like cultural kind of talks. That is okay, that's great. And then you actually put the contrast of the redneck, but the redneck feels. The redneck knows what love is, you know, and he actually can, with his simplicity, is that he can actually just bring barriers down.
I do agree that I can't remember her name, the woman he falls in love with in France with the kid, she was a particularly poorly used character that didn't really make much sense. And there's so many problems with all of this.
Honestly, it's like if there is a message, you know, because clearly, as you were saying, is that there is a message here, and it's like it's more important than the story that we are seeing, you know. Because let me just spoiler alert: at the end, the father finds like the Israeli. I don't know where he's from. I don't know what you mentioned, but it is clear that there is a bit more of immigration in Marseille, and there is a bit of a racial tension also going on in there that Bill doesn't even see because he only cares about vengeance. He doesn't care about like doing the right thing. He only cares about like just getting her daughter out. He only cares
he genuinely believes in her innocence, genuinely.
Yeah, he only cares about freedom. But the French woman tries to do the right thing, and she gets like she's more woke, let's say. And she gets like peace about like, oh, this person is racist, you know. But then they actually just.
Well, her daughter is clearly mixed race. So,
correct.
I mean.
Correct. It's not like she has like some.
Okay, we get it. She's open-minded.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. But she can also accept someone that is different a little bit. They actually were making fun of him the first time that they ran into each other. But spoiler alert, at the end, the daughter was actually, she actually asked this third party to just go to his place and getting rid of her. That was what you told me? Like getting rid of her, or the lover?
Yeah, exactly what is unclear, but she said she never intended to have the woman murdered. She just needed her to get out of the house, like get out of the apartment. And the guy took it upon himself to murder her.
Okay. But of course, he doesn't recognize that until she's back at the Stillwater, I think, at the end. But basically, Matt Damon character kidnaps this third party, and he basically tortures him and keeps him alive in a basement. And both the daughter of his lover and his lover find him, and they set him free. There is never like a clean resolution about it.
Yeah, I never quite understood what happened to that guy, because Matt Damon, he thought when the cops were going down there that they were going to open the door and find him.
Yeah, and there is like this. Oh my god, I want to believe that Matt Damon can be a good actor. You know, he's like an Emmy winner of Best Comedy Actor. You know, for The Martian. Let's not forget about this.
He was brilliant. He sang. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, the musical part was amazing. Now, honestly, I think that Matt Damon made that movie good. I think that he acted like pretty well, because actually it's like otherwise if you remember Matt Damon, you only have like Jessica Chastain, and you already know what I feel about Jessica Chastain because she was in The Martian. Let's not forget about this. That is easy to forget it.
How do you refer to her?
She's just a bimbo. Come on.
Space bimbo.
It's a space bimbo. It's the sci-fi bimbo that is like, do you think that we're going to have enough audience? It's like, well, we have Matt Damon. Maybe we have to put a hottie here. Jessica Chastain. She could do anything.
She'll get the job done.
Yeah, she could. It's like she likes sci-fi. Let's go with this. And the poor thing is that she's so limited. But in any case, Matt Damon is still like debating if he's good or not. But that is scene when they're going to be like opening the door. It's like. It felt like, oh my god! It's like this is supposed to be like the most tensest scene of the movie, and he was like just making me eye roll, like completely. It's like
and you could tell the director was like very impressed with Matt Damon's face, because they just stayed on it. There was no music. They were just like, let him act with his face.
Exactly. Like the nuance. I want to see the nuance of every single wrinkle in his face. Is honestly, it was. I had to tell you this, but it's that the last 30 minutes of this movie, they felt like punishment. They felt for something, like something that I did in my previous life. That is like, I'm being punished right now. This is the only reason why Blake made me watch this.
Yeah, it's because of Celine Dion's poem.
Well, now we are even. If we were not, with otherwise with Mommy Dearest for a sample,
I agree. The last 30 minutes, it made no sense. That like scene on the porch where she just goes for a walk and ends up on a porch. I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm not one to say people aren't cast right, but what the fuck was Abigail Breslin doing in this? She was not the right actor.
Well, I want to ask you about that, because it's like when I was seeing her, I was like, wait, I think that I know this girl that is now seeing a woman. It's like she was in Zombieland.
She was, and she was the little girl in
Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's poor. Yeah, I don't know what kind of career she's going to have, but this is not putting her in a good trajectory.
Well, I mean, she is Spotlight won Best Picture. This is like a prestige film. I think people thought this was going to be like an award film.
Oh my god. No, this was like something that it was like, look, this is only because your husband wanted to watch it, but if you had actually, honestly, recommended this, I think that our friendship would be over.
To be honest, I'm not saying I could tell it was good or bad from the trailer. This is not my type of movie. I wouldn't have chosen to see it, but with the decent reviews, it has 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, 60 on Metacritic.
That's not good. But that's not good.
And my husband wanted to watch it. I was like, yeah, no, we'll give it a chance. But I felt so bored the entire way.
Yeah.
And I felt exactly the same way as I did when I watched Spotlight. I disliked this film a little bit more than Spotlight, but I was equally as bored.
Well, I would say that Spotlight, I told you this before we started recording, I thought that Spotlight was boring, I agree with you, but I feel peace about the movie because I think that this is a good source material, is that this story could have made like a very interesting like journalist story. It's like, this is the best that you can come up with? And this one best movie? What the fuck is wrong with this year? So, but it was a bit more of I felt infuriated because the source material, I thought that it was like, this is an interesting story. But in this case, I don't think that this is an interesting story.
I agree. I don't even think there was enough there to make a compelling movie. These weren't. It's not a character study. The characters weren't real enough.
No, it's that the progression that you see is like, and now he falls in love, and the French woman and the American guy, they learn how to, like make the most of their difference and blah blah blah. It's like, this is TV film. This is TV film stuff. Is that this is the kind of heartwarming story that, in spite of our difference and in spite of our adversities, we can come on top of it. And there are only like two dark parts. There is like the guy kidnapping the other guy, and the girl, the daughter, saying that it's like, hey, I actually, almost trigger this, like trigger what happened here. But overall, when I think in the overarching narrative, like, did we need more than 2 hours?
We really didn't know. This could have been like a 44-minute made-for-TV film.
Yeah, and this is what I told you, is that this feels like a mediocre TV film. This feels like a forgettable TV film. That is, like, if this was not in Matt Damon, like career, that is, like, probably the most famous of all of the cast, is that this is a movie that, the IMDb top 500, this couldn't be in the top 50,000 ever. The only reason why this movie may be showing up in any kind of search is because people notice, like, what is this Stillwater? It's like, oh, that piece of shit, when they actually click on it.
And also, why did they name it after the hometown they came from when he spends almost... Oh, it's because of the necklace.
Yep.
Ah, that pisses me off.
There is and I was thinking, is that, look, right now what you do is that you actually buy a hoodie of Oklahoma City. But you're telling me that in one of the previous trips, one of the first trips that you went to just visit her when she was still, like, free, dumb, you actually bought in the airport, like, a gold pendant, a gold collar, necklace, or a gold necklace, with the name of the city, of a city like Stillwater, in the airport. It's like, wait, what? In the international Stillwater airport? Is that was like such a... Let's not think about this. Let's not think about this. Everything is a metaphor. It's a city metaphor, and everything translated in this movie into I could have done something better with 2 hours and a half of my life.
So I grew up in a Stillwater-like town in Idaho. They do not have custom jewelry made in their airport. That is apparently enough to convince someone to, like, harass a man, because that was the... I'm sorry, there are so many spoilers. We shouldn't have said this.
No, go ahead. We deserve, we actually, after just putting up with this for so long, we deserve to actually just rip them apart.
Yeah, that's how Matt Damon solves the fucking mystery, because he kidnaps the guy, he has the necklace, and the guy in broken English is like, he basically says, she hired me to do this, but she said you can have the necklace as first as down payment, and then I'll pay you the money. This cheap airport necklace
was like the down payment. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Was there even like an airport? Good. Yeah. This is I'm not going to say the hit or a miss. Is that this is a train wreck, but not the kind of train wreck that is entertaining to watch. Is that this is a train wreck that is it's mediocre in all the senses, on every single sense. There is nothing that I would save out of this. So what she was asked to do wasn't great, but I really enjoyed that French actress. I agree, her character is a joke, but I think she's a good actress. I enjoyed watching her. Look, the only thing that it was missing every single time that she was coming into the scene saying like, "Ooh la la," or something like that. I'm sorry, it's like everything is so stereotypical, everything feels like so heavy-handed. There is no talent, and I appreciate that we're talking about this because I am like just dropping my score more and more.
So I hadn't thought about my score before basically 2 minutes ago. It's not going well. It's not.
It's not promising. It's not promising. The forecast is not promising here.
I don't even know what else there's to say about this, because it's not so bad that it's fun to make fun of, and it's not good enough that it's fun to talk about. It's just, it exists.
Yeah, for better or worse, it exists. That's a good way of putting it. But it's what I was telling you, is like this is a movie, and I know that is one of the answers to the questions, but it's a movie designed to be forgotten. And that Matt Damon is on it, is like, it makes me wonder, is your career over?
So I'm really happy that, because I'm lazy and didn't want to go to the movie theater, that I paid to rent this on Amazon Prime. And admittedly, I paid $20. That's $20 down the drain. But if I had walked 20 minutes to the movie theater, bought popcorn, sat down, and then sat through that, I would have been pissed.
I actually split it in 2 days. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, no, I did too, 100%.
Yeah, because it was 40 minutes. It's this is not engaging at all, and it's still just 2 hours and a half total. It's I will watch the remaining 90 minutes another day.
It was 2.5 hours?
2 hours and 20, I think. I mean, it was like just... Yeah, let me just say...
I know that's how long a net was. I watched a net right after I watched this.
2 hours and 20, 2 hours and 20.
Wow, that's way too long.
Should we go over the questions?
Let's do it. I don't want to waste any more of my life on this film.
Yeah, I think that's a good read. Well, actually, first I have a first question before like the official set of questions that we have. But you mentioned that this was not bad enough for being enjoyable to watch it as a hate watch kind of thing. No, do you think
it's not bad enough? What I said was it's not bad enough that it's fun to make fun of it.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think that Mommy Dearest was fun to make fun of it?
No, and we touched on this last week. It's not a Showgirls.
Yeah.
It's earnest and it's embarrassing in its earnest.
Yeah.
Not that the show wasn't. I don't know what makes the movie fun to tear apart and what. I don't know.
Well, I think that Showgirls was like really campy. And it actually just rolling its campiness about like, yeah, it's fine. It's the campiness can work for this movie.
Showgirls exaggerated everything to the nth degree, whereas this film just tried to be so minimal and even keeled and like held back, much like Matt Damon's character, because he's a stoic American that owns guns.
For free.
And none of that's fun, no.
This is okay. Because you feel reflected on it, you feel like personally attacked by it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like looking in a mirror. I was like, this is me.
Once again, is that you bringing up this movie, is that this was probably one of the most American things they ever done. Unintentionally, but this is like what I expect. And now I had the feeling that it's like, if I go to the middle of America, is that this movie is going to be like playing for 3 months.
That's actually really interesting. I'm going to call my father, who still lives in the Stillwater-like town in Idaho, and ask him, is it playing?
Yeah, I think that this will be a movie, like targeted more about like this person that never left his area, but then he goes and there is this heartwarming experience about like how he can change like the people around him for just understanding the greatness of America.
I don't want to disagree with you, but there is nothing heartwarming about this. It's just sad. It's a sad movie. Everyone is sad and sad things happen.
No, I don't agree. Honestly, I don't agree. It's like there is like plenty of moments that is like if you remove like the final like greedy parts that is about like I kidnapped someone and I just left it here, in your building, and I have making you accomplice of a kidnapping and torturing of someone, and the girl actually says that I don't want to see you ever again. If that hadn't happened, it's like the story is like really sweet, quote unquote,
You are crazy. We watched 2 different movies.
No, just remove the part about like his daughter is in prison, like his life, his experience in France, how he actually just interact with the daughter of the girl and how their love grows. That's the kind of stuff that you expect from a TV film.
I will say that the one scene I enjoyed tremendously is when she slipped her dad the letter in French to give to the lawyer. The dad had his new girlfriend, she wasn't a girlfriend yet, but his would-be girlfriend translated for him, and he's like, and she wrote in the letter, please don't involve my dad in this, he's not capable. And you see like this look of devastation on his face, and I was like, oh, that was a clever moment.
Okay, that's
that was
fair.
one clever
moment in 2 hours and 20 minutes. Let's remember this.
Yes.
Okay. Could you watch it again?
Never.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. It's like I want to create a new category that is like is categorically no. It's like it's
not even if I was bored in an airport.
Nope. Even it's like if there was. We watched Event Horizon. I know that you didn't like it.
Did.
I know that you didn't like it. We didn't record about it. It's a movie that is a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't think that is amazing, but it works for me. When they find the video of the previous crew of the ship, and there is like one guy that actually has removed his eyes and they have it like in front of them, it's like, that's what I would do. If it's playing on TV and it's like, you have to watch this, I will remove my eyes. It's like, I don't want to watch this. It's like, this is never, there shouldn't be any kind of reason in world that it would actually just force me to watch this. It's like, look, we're going to have, I don't know, we have your kiddies. If you don't watch this movie, we will actually drown them. It's like, I don't have kiddies. So just tell me.
I imagine what's that Guillermo del Toro film everyone loved?
The Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, you remember that monster that like puts
Remains this.
I imagine you being that monster and it coming on and you just like take guys out.
Nope, I'm out. No need for watching this. Yeah, no, categorically no. Could you recommend it?
So like I would probably tell my dad to watch this, or my grandma. Like anybody in Idaho, I would probably tell to watch it.
So it's a yes.
Nobody else.
But it's a yes. You could recommend it to some people.
God damn it.
It's fine. No. It's fine. If you actually feel, and you already told me that it's like I would do this, I would actually recommend it to my father. It's fine because that's the interesting part that I wanted to discuss with you. It's like I'm European, you're American. From that perspective, is like we may have a different reaction to this movie that it tries to be like so much about the American people and freedom. So from that perspective, for me, it's like fucking never know.
Yeah, but see, I know people like those people in the film, so
that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. I don't, thankfully.
You know me, man.
Yeah, and this I would have never
I'm
recommended.
on my gay podcast drinking my sake.
Exactly. It's like I think that you are not, like the average American on this. It's like I wish that you had been the average American when we were like playing trivia. And we had like sports questions about football. It's like, and you didn't know anything at all. It's like we felt betrayed. About like you're American, you're supposed to bring this.
I failed you. I failed the two Europeans on the team.
Yeah. Do you think that you will remember this?
Because it's a famous story, yes, I'll probably remember. Oh, yep, Matt Damon played that part, and Abigail Breslin played that part. But there's nothing memorable. So the answer is no.
Is no?
In a year, if you ask me to call out a specific scene, I'm not going to be able to.
Okay. My answer is no. I don't think that it will be like never, because there may be like a bit more of a cautionary memory about like, no, that's bad. Don't watch this. But overall, there is nothing memorable about this movie. Absolutely nothing. As you said, that there is not a single
like
memory.
Visually, it's so
bland.
Plain.
Yep.
Bland, yes.
It's like
the
even
coloring.
Yeah, even when they go, that is true, because like when they even go to that, it's not really a beach, but it's like this small cliff that is like, oh, I want to just go into the water, and we go here. Even the coloring there is like, it doesn't make it look nice. This is the point that you actually need to make the outside wall like trying to look great. And then she tries to commit suicide, and there is like only one scene about it. It's like, oh, she tries to commit suicide. Whatever, let's just move on.
Well, there's that conversation where she's like, oh, I'm accepting my fate, so everything's better.
It's like,
my score is just going.
Honestly, is that part felt is like, okay, is this because it happened in the real case? Because why are you adding it here? It's like, I don't get it. Honestly, I just felt confused by the whole screenplay. But is there anything artistic about it?
No, I think while he made respected films like Spotlight, I think he's a remarkably untalented director that has remarkable success. There's nothing that you can point to besides that one jab at the dad. There's nothing you can point to that's interesting or different or innovative or interesting.
Well, I have to say that the father receives like multiple jabs. But it's a bit more about like just showing that stoic perspective of like, I just roll with them. It's fine. I'm above this. It's not about like pride. It's a bit more about like just being stoic. And it's like even that joke I feel is like, okay, whatever. It's like he's just a cliche. There is nothing else to him. So.
Yeah, my answer is no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, it's like this is bland. Everything from the screenplay to the directing to the photography. The acting, everything is bland. So, no, there is nothing artistic about it. There is nothing bold, there is nothing memorable. Is it a timeless piece?
I mean, does it explore the timeless principles of free America? Yeah.
Okay, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's nothing timeless about this. There are no themes even explored. What are the themes?
Well, but that's the thing, is that the thing is Americans, the world, collision, freedom.
You are giving our listener a very wrong impression of this film.
Okay, that's true. There is not like an American flag. There is only a guy that he has tattooed like a bald eagle in his arm. And a skull. He said that's the most American thing on top of having guns, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
no, I can't argue with that.
It's true, he doesn't scream freedom every 10 seconds. I wish that he had done that. We could have made this like way more hilarious, like turning it into an absurd comedy. But he's going through that. It almost feels like he's bringing freedom to actually a broken law system that is France.
Okay.
If it's a timeless piece or not, honestly, I don't know what to say on this one, you know, because the topics, if we actually say not about like America, France, or whatever, you know, but it's everything about like father kind of involvement, about like just trying to fill up a gap, feeling like I fail as a father and I can correct like part of it. I'll bet he never recognizes that he failed as a father. We only get that
Right.
from the daughter.
Wasn't it? It was unclear to me why they were estranged in the first place. Was it because of the mother's death?
Why they were what?
I mean, why they were estranged? Because they had a bad relationship when she went to prison,
Yeah.
and I don't.
Because
I don't think they talked.
And so I think that she mentions it, that it's like when the mother died, it's like he put away absolutely everything that belonged to the mother, and it's like he wanted to actually, he focused more on his process of healing, you know, and it got to a point that he forgot about like he had all of that. He didn't let the daughter had anything, and even like he forgets like the pictures of the daughter and the wife.
Oh yeah.
So it's like he never healed about that. But you know, the interesting part is that there is these details about like he never healed about that. It's clear that he's like dealing with some kind of trauma. He used to abuse drugs and alcohol. But this never really comes to someone, as they actually mentioned several times. I mean, like, have you been drinking? Have you been using drugs? But they never talk about like something terrible that he did. Like, for example, oh my god, I cannot believe that I'm going to be like bringing this movie in a positive way. Like Manchester by the Sea, the character of Casey Affleck, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, is that he hasn't been drinking, if I recall correctly, for many years, and then at the end we know why. It's an important thing for the character. There is some kind of development, there is some like background to the character itself. On this case there is nothing. There are facts, but they don't matter.
Yeah, it's like they tried to take a little snapshot. So like after the murder, before the freedom, snapshot. But that snapshot is so fucking boring.
Yep. No, I agree. And it's like, why do you bring like this kind of stuff if you are not going to be using it for anything? It's just dumb. It just feels lazy. You know, it almost feels like going back to adaptation. It feels like those classes, the screenplay writing classes, about like, and if you don't know what to do with a character, just give them a background. It doesn't matter. Just give them like something that happened in the previous life, and just remind the audience so they can be expecting that something is going to be like happening about that, and then subvert expectations. Nothing happens. It didn't matter.
Wow, I'm impressed. You really learned from those classes.
Yep, yeah, I did. So, could you dare to turn this into a TV show?
I would not watch a second more of this story. I mean, honestly, after Spotlight and this, I'm not interested in seeing any more of his films. Like, you know, he has a writing credit on this, right?
Yeah, so that, yeah. So is it I completely blame him for the end result. There is no excuse.
This is on him. This is on you, Tom. You better.
You better what?
Do better work.
Do
Make better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you know that this guy directed 2 episodes of this show that I still have like some, you know, like hate saved for you for just telling me that this was decent? That this was like for young adults, it was like a decent show. 13 Reasons Why.
Did I tell you it was a good show, or did I say it was entertaining?
You told me that it's like for being like a young adult show, this is good.
Oh, yeah, for a YA show, it's good. Yeah, I still feel that way. For a YA show, a young adult show, it is.
No, it's not. There has to be like better stuff than this. Honestly, it's like I felt yeah. Well, doesn't matter. We are not talking about this. We already just gave him like too much shit at this point. So for you is no. For me is never, never. I don't think that there is a wall or a reality where this story should be turned into a TV show. There is no reason for it.
There's not a single character I want to know more about, even though we just complained that we didn't find anything about any of the characters. There's not. No.
Do you think that this movie could have been better? Let me give a caveat. Keeping like the premise of the story.
I don't think so. This is a dumpster fire that's beyond saving. Like, I think we got what we needed to from the original story in the news.
Yeah.
This should have been made into entertainment.
Yeah. Can you think of anything based on real events or inspired by real events that is really exceptional that you think that develop, you know? Something that comes to your mind. I mean, I'm thinking about Zodiac right now.
Oh, that's a good one. Hurt Locker?
Did you really like it? The Catherine Bigelow movie?
I liked it when it was in theaters. I haven't seen it since.
Okay. I mean, I think that we discussed about this. That is like, as I watched Zero Dark 30 afterwards, it's like my value, my personal value of Hurt Locker, like just dropped completely. About like I hated Zero Dark 30 so much.
At least she was just a bimbo in Zero Dark 30 and not a space bimbo.
That's true. She actually promoted. She was like just trying to diversify, you know, her career. She didn't want to be seen like typecasted.
How like literal based on true events, because like the River Kwai, like those sorts of like based in setting.
It's inspired by. It's inspired like yeah, true. Is that something like that happened? Like some of these things happen in reality and going to be like just building. And I was like more interested about that. About like we only take like some pieces that we care about, and everything else is like just completely made up.
Jurassic Park.
That's based on a Michael Crichton book.
Oh damn. No, that's an interesting question. Honestly, like I feel like we should have a different type of podcast where we talk about films that were based on true events and talk about if we feel like they added anything.
Erin Brockovich.
I mean, I hate PG&E because of her. That's pretty
okay. It is a word. Yeah, that's good. No, honestly, I have to agree with you completely. It's like I don't think that this movie with this premise could have been any better. You know, it's like when someone did the initial pitch about like what this movie was going to be about, this movie was deemed to be a train wreck.
Also, like, remember how he just visits that woman who's on oxygen at the beginning, and there's clearly like a story there, and then they just never see her again.
They never see her again, but I think that
he has a phone call.
Yeah. And that's it.
Why? Why waste the time?
Was it like her mother-in-law? His mother-in-law?
I believe it was his wife's mom, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I took, you know, but I don't know. I mean, the thing is that you have like this story that it could be like, no, Paris, Texas, or what was this? Nebraska. That is like, yeah, I just made a movie in the middle of America, you know, and make it sad. But then you go to France, is what you were saying, like, and the whole movie is about that. It's about like being in France. And it's about
and
like
how he doesn't fit in France, despite like finding a new family.
Yep.
And moving there.
Yep. Yep. I'm cooking burgers for them. And beans.
Because that's very American.
Is what real stoic Americans do for freedom.
Yeah. Teach them about burgers.
Yep. So should we score this piece of shit?
I don't even know how to score it. I definitely dropped a few points. This was my pick, so you score first.
Yeah, so I'm going to be like completely honest. When we started, my idea was like, look, this is a mediocre TV film. You know, so I'm going to be like probably going to go to a 4.5. But then the more that we talk about it, is like the less sense it made. You know, I can understand like the metaphoric aspect of it, but it doesn't succeed even on that metaphoric aspect. And once again, 2 hours and 20 minutes. If I have to just force myself to watch 30 minutes of a movie, that's way below an average film. So for me, this is going to be a 3.5.
Okay, so when I started, I was 6.5. It dropped down to a 4.
Okay.
I think technically it's a decent, well, as the New York Times called it, it's not interesting or innovative, but it's professionally made.
Look, do you remember the 2 Faces of January? What's it called?
Yeah.
It's like even that movie, 2 Faces of January, that movie that it also felt like this is by the manual. Is like whoever directed this is like, I think that it was like the first movie and only movie that he directed. Is like there is nothing special about this, and it's exactly the same feeling that I had here. It's like I think that
except 2 Faces of January was way better.
Oh yeah, it was entertaining. So it was basing a Patricia Highsmith novel, you know, and it was palatable. This was not, you know.
I have to say, so it is my husband who really wanted to see this film, and I also broke it up into 2 days. I think we watched about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes the first day. He never finished it.
Honestly, mate, I was pretty close to write you. You know, when I had only like 30 minutes left, about telling you, like, let's change the movie. Let's just skip it. It's like no one is going to be like just holding us accountable. It's like we're not going to be like receiving death threats about like, hey, dude, I actually was the Stillwater, and then you didn't talk about it in. Oh my god, yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. That would be like the biggest betrayal ever.
Yeah, when you threatened me, you're like, you better fucking watch this. I was like, oh, I think I know how he feels.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you, like, look, I understand other times that you actually mix up movies or whatever. It's like, there is no excuse on this. I don't want to hear. It's like, look, instead of actually watching this, I don't know how, I ended up watching like all the video clips from Bjork. I don't know what happened. I don't know how this came to happen, but
I watched your music video collection, volume 2, right? That's what we talked about.
Exactly, you know. It's like, it was Michael Country's videos, no? What we said, it's like, no, it was still
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt peace. You know, you had actually just picked this, like, honest to God about, like, hey, I actually read the reviews. I think that we should watch Stillwater. I would be like, yes. You know, with very strong feelings.
I would be justified. I would have deserved it. Fortunately, I have an excuse this time.
Tell Pablo that he betrayed you. You know, it's like he actually leaving you by yourself to complete the movie after
he embarrassed me. He embarrassed me on my own podcast.
Okay, man. So as this was your pick, intentionally or unintentionally, that's just whatever. The next one is going to be on me. I want to actually just give another try to Leo Carax, you know, as he actually released like pretty recently. Annette, what, you want to say something?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just excited. I mean, we've had a very interesting relationship with him and our conversations about film. So it's just, and it's his first English language film. It's just exciting with Marion Cotillard and Adam Driver.
Yeah, no, I mean the cast is pretty good. What can go wrong? Chan chan chan.
Love each other so much.
Unconventional, baby. Okay. Anything else to say about Stillwater?
Good riddance. I'm sorry, but don't watch this movie. None of you, 5-10 people. No.
Actually, that's a good question. You know, if we actually talk about like bad movies that we have watched, even like including the ones that we didn't record about, would you say that this is the one that you would least recommend to people? You know, if actually people tell you, like, should I watch The Room or Stillwater?
I would definitely say The Room. At least there's laughable moments.
A lot. What about Mommy Dearest or this?
Honestly, I would probably say Mommy Dearest just because it's so famously bad. Like, it's kind of like I should see Star Wars at some point just because everyone knows it.
Okay, I can see the reasoning, but personally, I felt insulted by Mommy Dearest. With this movie,
and you didn't feel insulted by Stillwater?
I felt bored. You know, it's like I felt so bored that I couldn't feel insulted. I mean, I felt insulted as a European, but it was a bit more like, well, this is the United States with their narrow views of the world.
Mommy Dearest is such a spectacle of poor filmmaking. Like, you have to see that, right? Like, you have to.
Okay. From that perspective, it's like no one is going to be talking about like how bad Stillwater was in 3 years. Mommy Dearest people are still going to be like just writing and talking about it.
And Mommy Dearest came out in what? 84, right? The year I was born. So it's 37.
Yeah. It has a good story. Yeah. Alright. So yeah, for me, it's like probably Stillwater is a movie that if someone asked me, is like, would you recommend Stillwater or The Room? It's like, I don't even remember what Stillwater was, so The Room.
Yeah, The Room. Yeah, just go with The Room.
Yeah, why not? Okay, and to those 5 people listening to us, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, guys, and wash your hands, Delta variant, stay inside.
Alright, bye.